Hi, this is James Gordon Total Live here with the ninth book in the James Bond series. The book I'll be talking about today, Thunderball. That's a really nice cover. Okay, this is from Triad Panther, and this edition was originally published in 1978. This reprint is from 1983. The original edition of when Thunderball was published was by Jonathan Cape on March 27th, 1961. This was a really good James Bond novel. I really enjoyed this. This was an excellent spy thriller. It had a lot of moments of intense action I enjoyed. Uh, a lot of short yet brutal like fight scenes. A lot of violence in it, and the finale was excellent. I really enjoyed this. And the build up to it, I enjoy. Like the pacing was really good. The characters were well written and crafted. The villains were very well crafted in the book. They were absolutely ruthless, and they're not even afraid to kill like one of their own to complete their mission. That's how like ruthless they are. Like they'll kill any one of their own just to ensure that they succeed in their mission and stuff. And it's like you're not sure. Like that was the one thing I noticed while reading this book. It's like you're not sure at what moment that one of the that the villains, which is this is the book that is the first time mentioned Spectre. So I thought Spectre was something they changed from Smirch, but no, it turns out it came from this book. Basically, these Spectre members are ruthless. They are willing to kill like their own for the sake of completing their mission, and at any time, one of them can be killed off at any moment, and they don't know who it is or when, and they're fine with it. It seems like they don't care if they get killed by one of their own. It's to ensure that they complete their mission and stuff. So overall, I enjoyed this book. There were some things I didn't like with it, but overall, I really enjoyed it. All right, on to the book review. Plot: James Bond is taken off service for 2 weeks after getting a bad report on his medical checkup as he's been drinking and smoking too much. M sends James to the Shrublands, a medical clinic. James is strongly against this, but is ordered to go if he wants to stay in the Double O department. James storms out of M's office, slamming the door. He asks Moneypenny what's got into his boss. She tries explaining he's only looking after him and doesn't want to lose his best agent, and also went there himself. She also asks him if he really does go through a lot of alcohol and cigarettes. Annoyed, James leaves Moneypenny's office. James packs his things and hops in an Austin taxi as the driver speeds through the streets while telling him about the place, along with a woman he knows that began offering sex for money. While laughing at the stories the driver is telling James, James isn't looking forward to this whole thing and wonders if he could escape it. Upon arriving at Shrublands, James pays the driver and enters inside as he already dislikes the place. There he meets the owner, Joshua Wayne. Wayne does a medical checkup on James and begins a series of diets along with different methods of getting him in shape, one of which he dubs the rack to help stretch his spine. While wondering if he should attempt to escape this hellhole, knowing if it would most likely get him fired, James then bumps into a young and very pretty woman who is on her way to greet Count Lip, a old Asian man from Macau. While having his body massaged along with eating the low-fattening food, James observes Lip acting strangely along with refusing to take off his watch, then overhears him talking about the Red Lightning Ton, a criminal organization. James reports this back to HQ and will keep a close eye on Lip. However, as he goes to leave the phone booth, James notices Lip is watching him. Unsure if he's onto him or not, James continues to exercise and his diet despite feeling worse at times, which Wayne explains that it's the toxins leaving his body. James, however, is looking more forward to leaving this place. On the fourth day, James goes to the rack as the nurse explains how the machine works, but states they have to be careful as it's powerful enough to pull a person apart. As James is trying to get comfortable on the rack, he suddenly wakens to see the hand of Lip increasing the power, causing the machine to pull hard. He screams as James is unable to break free the straps. He blacks out from the terrible pain but is saved by the nurse. James lies he accidentally touched the leather while trying to get more comfortable. After a week of recovery, James carefully plans his revenge on Lip by locking him in the steam bath and increasing the heat, causing second-degree burns, leaving Lip in the hospital. Meanwhile in Paris, Ernest Starvel Blofeld, head of Spectre, special executive for counterintelligence, terrorism, revenge, and extortion, are outlining a plan dubbed Omega Plan. With his members all codenamed as Numbers, Blofeld plans to hijack a bomber and steal its two nuclear bombs and threaten to destroy two cities unless a ransom is paid. However, Blofeld calls out two members of Spectre that failed during their mission and executes them. He electrocutes number 12 to death, then shoots number 7 with an air gun with a poisoned dart. After the other numbers agreed to his plan, he also wants to find the man who nearly killed Limp as he was spent a week in the hospital, which caused a delay in his plans. When James leaves the health clinic, he feels better and is trying to cut back on drinking and smoking along with going out on a date with one of the nurses. However, his date is cut short when he gets an urgent call from M to report to him at once. Driving his new Bentley Continental Mach 3 with a battleship grey paint job and speeds through London until he reaches M's office. When he gets there, M gives James a letter from Spectre as both the President and British Prime Minister have been given. As Spectre reveals that they are behind the theft of two stolen Viennese Vindicator bombers carrying nuclear bombs, part of a trading mission, and all crew members are dead. They demand $100 million from both countries, and if they refuse to pay, they'll target two cities and destroy them both. The President and Prime Minister agree they'd rather find where Spectre is keeping the planes or bombs and stop them before the deadline, fearing they'll use the bombs anyway. The operation is codenamed Thunderball. While there is little to go on, as hearing this makes James break out a cigarette, but M has a theory that the two bombers might have crashed into the sea near Bermuda and the Bahamas, since the bomber needs a special run rate as it's a very large and wide plane and the area has shallow waters, allowing the pilot to crash land in the sea and remove the bomber's payload. M wants James to search within this area and see if he can find the missing bombers and their payload before time runs out. As James leaves HQ, he is followed by a Lip who plans on killing him. However, his Volkswagen's loud engine causes James to turn his head and see Lip aiming a gun at him. James quickly swerves his Bentley and slams on the brakes. Limp fires off a few shots with his siren as James ducks, nearly getting hit by a bullet. Limp drives into oncoming traffic, causing a big accident which flips his Volkswagen microbus and explodes. James gives the report to the police, which they also send to M. This near assassination attempt makes him miss his flight, but James gets on another plane. Arriving at the Bahamas, James teams up with Felix Leiter, who was recruited by the CIA to aid James on the mission. James believes they're looking for a large group of people as they may be using a large boat or plane to move the bombs. Felix agrees, stating the criminals behind this are pros. James also believes that Limp had something to do with it and contacts M to see if they can dig anything up on him. Their investigation leads to a large boat, the Disco Volante, Italian for flying saucer, and its owner, Emilio Largo. James and Felix pose as inspectors as they want to examine the ship. Largo leads them on board and learn his mistress, Donna Vitelli, or as she prefers to be called by Domino, lives on the beach house. As Largo shows them around the ship and tells them it can hydrofoil, allowing to gain more speed. Largo states he's going treasure hunting with the flying saucer, but refuses to let them explore any further of the ship, stating he doesn't want to disturb the crew. James and Felix believe Largo is lying and the ship is hiding the bombs. However, they won't be able to get near the ship as it's heavily guarded. And after making their reports, their agencies, they reveal the treasure hunt story isn't true and Largo's backstory doesn't match. Both the CIA and MI6 believe they have found where the bombs are, but they have to confirm it. They also go scuba diving and discover the crash site of the bombers. James comes up with a plan. He seduces Domino. James informs her that her brother, Batachi, was killed during the hijacking of the bomber and needs his help. She accepts and will carry a camera disguised as a Geiger counter to see where the nuclear bombs are being held. As both British and Americans set up battleships, planes, submarines, along with a heavily armed squad of soldiers ready to strike when the order is given. However, despite alerting James that Largo does in fact have the bombs, her cover is blown as he attempts to escape the Bahamas with the bombs. It's a race against time to stop Blofeld's master plan and rescue Domino from Largo. The fate of the world is in the hands of James Bond and Felix Leiter. Thunderball was a good spy thriller. Ian Fleming made many improvements to the novel. The pacing was good, characters were better crafted and developed, along with a short yet intense moments of action, along with some brutal moments of violence. And the finale was great too. The villains of Spectre are pure evil and ruthless, as they'll even kill their own to accomplish their mission at any cost. While I didn't like the part of Well, I didn't like the parts of James Bond becoming a vegan, but once he's assigned to a mission, he begins going back to his old ways while still trying to cut back on heavy smoking and drinking. I enjoyed the scenes of the Bahamas and the other water scenes too. Ian also adds some humor to this novel, which I enjoyed. As for the 1965 film The Sane with Sean Connery, it's also good. While they changed some of the scenes around, along with toning down the violence, but it's still worth a watch. Overall, I highly recommend Thunderball. It's a well written and crafted spy thriller. And that's a review today. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, I really enjoyed Thunderball. It was a really good book. Um, as I said, I really like the short, intense moments of action and violence we get in the novel. It's really good. I thought the finale was excellent, where Bond and Felix are just racing to stop Largo and basically prevent the bombs from falling into Spectre's hands. I really enjoyed that scene a lot, and I love the whole, tropical setting in the Bahamas and stuff. I really enjoy. I kind of like the second and third act a lot more than the first act of the novel, as having to read the scenes where James Bond has to go through this strict diet and exercise to get him back in shape. Those parts I really didn't enjoy. And after James Bond gets back, he's trying to become a vegan at times, and I was getting kind of annoyed where he's trying to convince others to try this diet, these foods he's been eating, and they're like, "Come on, James, eat the foods you used to enjoy." Just because you got back from this health clinic doesn't mean you have to start avoiding all the things that you enjoyed and stuff. So yeah, those were the only parts I didn't like, but other than that, I enjoyed the book. I will say that the best part is when James Bond gets back at Count Lip by trapping him in the sauna bath. That scene I really enjoyed. I could just imagine how brutal that must have been. So I enjoyed that part. The whole scene where they're trying to. Actually, this book, the one thing I also like with Thunderball, which I felt was another improvement, was Ian Fleming shows how the bomber is hijacked, which I liked because in From Russia with Love, he doesn't reveal how they stole the coding machine. It just skips to Bond and the that female Russian agent when they just basically get it. I'm like, how did they steal it? But luckily though, the film they show that. In the book, I was like, oh, he doesn't show how they stole the bomber and stuff, how they hijacked it. But in the book, he does in fact show it, and it's very similar to what they did in the movie, which I thought was really clever too. So that scene I liked as well. And Blofeld is just a very ruthless villain, along with the other members of Spectre, known as the Numbers. As no one goes by a name, it's only a number. So this has some really interesting characters in it. I really enjoyed it, and overall I really liked the book, and the movie was good too, despite the fact they toned some of the violence down in the film. But overall, I still enjoyed the film and book of the same name. And I also like the fact that Felix Leiter gets more to do in this book as in the other books. I didn't mind his character at first. He does help James Bond out a lot, but what was the one book where he just makes oh yeah, Dies Are Forever. He just he shows up, drives Bond to where he has to go, and then gives him some info, and then he disappears. And I was like, you could have had the character done a little more and stuff, but and then he didn't make another appearance in the later books. I thought, okay, I kind of would prefer if the books focus more on James Bond, less on Felix Leiter, but it was nice to see him in this book, and he does a lot more. So this was a character I started to kind of warm up to a bit more in the series. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and there's not very much that I didn't like with it. Just a few things, but overall enjoyed it. Okay, now I'm done with that. On to the 10th book. I'm almost done with the series. The Spy Who Loved Me. The shortest book in the series, this is only 172 pages, as this is really short. But guess what? I've already read this book. I actually just finished reading this book just after I was done writing the review for it, and I'm going to get to the review of this book next, and then I'll go on to the next, the 11th book in the James Bond series, as I only got 10. Oh yeah, I got 4 more to go, and I'll be done with this series, so I'm going to have this series wrapped up soon. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and please don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group The Sane, and please support Review of Fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.